Okay, hello everyone. Yeah, here is another video under the issues and debate in AS psychology. All right, so I discovered I have not covered this video. All right, so and then I'm diving right into it. So the first thing we're going to look at is the application of psychology to everyday life. This is very important. Now, what is the essence of studying psychology in the first place if it's not useful in our everyday life? Okay, it's about studying the mind and behavior, right? Now, how is it useful? Okay, now, physical and mental health. Now, studying psychology, all right, can help improve the therapy techniques, all right, stress management techniques as well, etc, different things around that. That's the physical and mental health. An example is safety, for example, talking about road safety interventions, okay, crime prevention strategies, okay, like for example the study of Pozzulo et al, which helps about lineup, where we can get to understand that, okay, children were given less correct answers. Okay, that can help in the process in that aspect in one way or the other. All right, workplace productivity, motivation theories, for example, under the um, organizational psychology that is under the A level, however, all right, can help to improve workplace, business and sales, consumer psychology, advertisement techniques, etc. All right, so application to real world is actually a very broad thing. This is just some of the example I could bring around, okay, on the slide. Okay, but for the AS level, actually, if you're talking about how we can apply psychology to the everyday life, one thing I always want my student to keep in mind is that focus, who does a particular study or research or finding, who does it benefit? Okay, how does it benefit them? And then who will be on the receiving end? So in other words, we are looking at the subject, or let me put it this way, the direct beneficiary. Okay, how does it benefit the direct beneficiary and then the indirect beneficiary? All right, so these are the categories you can always think around. We're talking about for example, parent and children, parent versus children, number one. Number two, you can talk around maybe teacher versus student. Okay, if it's a country you want to think about, you can say, okay, the president versus the citizen. All right, another thing is maybe a therapist versus patient. Okay, so looking at, for example, the study on autism, now you can easily say, okay, this study can benefit teacher as they can easily use the reading the eyes and the mind test to quickly diagnose students with autism. Now you can see the way I'm able to use teachers and then play in students as well, and explain how this can benefit them. So it depends on you. You can think around anything, parents versus their children. All right, so just get that category and be able to apply the study effectively. All right, so the strength, it helps to improve human behavior and well-being. Okay, that is actually the focus. Provide solution for real-world problems, and can enhance policy, education, healthcare, and marketing. The weakness, on the other hand, some studies may be unethical in pursuit of more valid results. All right, such that in the way you're trying to validate the result, it can lead to unethical procedures. All right, putting people under stress and the likes. Okay, high ecological validity is required for findings to be applicable. So if you did something in the laboratory, for example, then it can lack applications. So this is just more like evaluation. But whenever you're being asked, for example, in an exam to apply a study to real world, just think around the concept: who does it benefit, how does it benefit them, who is the person receiving it on the other end, then come up with an idea. All right, so moving forward, we have individual versus situation explanation. Now individual explanation believes that, sorry, individual explanation believe that behavior is shaped by personality, genetics, or physiology. All right, physiology. All right, that is intelligence or aggression level. Okay, so this basically believes that individual behavior is shaped by something about that person. All right, I've seen a lot of questions around this. Okay, so individual is more about personality, about your own individual behavior, your own personal behavior. It's something about you. Everybody can be in the same environment, making noise, disturbing, shouting. You might have just one person that remains calm. So it's something about the personality. It's not about the environment, it's not about the situation. It's just the behavior is based on his or her own personality. All right. So situational explanation on the other hand, behavior is influenced by environmental factor, e.g. peer pressure, cultural norms, and the likes. Now, how do you apply this to your studies? Okay, basically what you can think around is, if you have two conditions, maybe the experimental condition and the control group, you have two different groups. All right, now if the experimental condition did better than the control group, that is simply the situational explanation, because you can say that, okay, because of the IV that is present in the experimental condition, because of this environment that the experimental condition found themselves, all right, they were able to perform better than the control group. So that shows that everybody in the experimental condition, their behavior were influenced because of the environment they found themselves, right? Whereas the control group, they were able to perform lesser because of the environment they found themselves, which means that the participants in the control group, if they had been in the experimental group as well, they would have performed better, right? That is situational explanation. Now, what about individual explanation? If looking at, for example, doodling, the study I covered about Andrade doodling, okay, you can find individual explanation there, as you had some participants in the experimental group that doodled just three shapes, okay, and then you found others that doodled up to 100 shapes. So anything you found that is a personal behavior, a particular behavior that is related to just an individual despite being in a group, okay, they were in the same group but they behave differently. If you're looking at Milgram study also, for example, you can always talk about the fact that, okay, some participant um, didn't finish the experiment, okay, that is individual perspective, all right. So whereas some finished, okay, that is also individual, all right. Some participant also, I think there was a participant that had seizure, all right. Another one, they were tensed, some shook their head even after the experiment. These were individual differences. Okay, now what is the strength? It helps identify behavior associated with either individual or situational factors, which can help improve understanding of human action. Recognizes Another one, it recognizes interaction between personal trait and environment, which provides deeper insight into behavior. Okay. Now, weakness is difficult to separate individual and situational factor in most cases. Some research may violate ethical guidelines. Okay, laboratory-based study may lack ecological validity. All right, so these are just to give you an idea around the strength and weaknesses. However, this is the full explanation of the individual and situational. Okay, moving forward from there, we have the nature versus nurture. A lot of students confuse the difference between nature and individual. Yeah, nurture and situational. Nature basically talks about the behavior you were born with, or let me say the things that you were born with. Nurture talks about the things you learned after being born, right? Okay, so the role of genetic and biology in shaping thought, emotion, and behavior. Now, when you were born with your genetics, you were born with your biology, talking about your brain, talking about your genes, talking about your hormones. Okay, now, so nature believes that those are the factors that are responsible for your behavior. Okay, nurture on the other hand believes that, okay, it is the environmental factor that influence your behavior, especially learning things that you learn from the environment. Okay, that is nurture. You learned how to do this. Now, if you want to think, do you think it's natural to get angry, or you learned to get angry? What do you think? Do you think, okay, the particular way you get angry, if you're angry, you break things? Do you think it's something you might have probably observed somewhere? Okay, and then you're just repeating the behavior you learned, which is nurture? Or do you think it is nature, that is, naturally we get angry, we get, so it's a combination of both anyway. So it might be difficult to separate some situations. However, anything that is related to your biology now can support the nature side of the debate. Okay, Let's say, for example, if you inherit a particular gene that makes you tall, that is nature, right? Okay, looking at the study of a monkey toy preference, where the monkey did not really add any socialization as regards, okay, which toy they should play with. They were just given the toy, and then we discovered that the male were tending towards the wheel toy, right, like cars, compared to the female. That there was no significant difference between the wheel toy and the plush toy. Talking about the dolls, they played, they interacted with the dolls and the wheel toy almost alike. All right, so which is similar to that of the children, human children. So that behavior now shows that there is a possibility that hormones in our system actually influences our interaction. Okay, so which is the reason it supports the biological um, explanation to some extent. Although others can debate it, it's open for debate. That's why it is issues and debate in psychology. So there are behaviors that support the nature. All right. Also looking at um, the clinical psychology in particular, where we have a lot of biological explanation for mental disorders, OCD, ICD, schizophrenia. So a lot of them were nature in explanation, in approach. All right. Also, we have a lot of nurture as well. Okay, the strength help clarify the origin of different behavior, enhancing psychological theories. Okay, acknowledging the interaction between genes and environment to improve understanding of human behavior. Now, weaknesses, it's hard to distinguish whether behavior are caused by genetic factor or learned experiences. So it might be difficult to actually separate both actually in some situations, you see. All right. Moving forward from there, we have the use of children in psychological research. I covered that in my research method. Okay, it's another video, please check that out. All right, so if the children are under 16, ensure you get parent consent. You can just you can just use children if they are under 16, then you have to speak with their parent or guardians. Okay, now risk assessment must be conducted to ensure that the child is safe throughout. You must follow ethical guidelines. You can check my video for more information on that. How about the use of animals? Okay, you have to ensure that you minimize harm and distress, ensure necessity and justification for using animal. Okay, you must be able to justify your reason for having to use the animal. If not, you could use maybe videos or some other things. Okay, providing proper care and housing. All right, so however, this is not the full explanation for this. I covered that in my research method. I only added this just to have a glimpse of it. Okay, so that is it. All right, thank you very much. Please, I urge you to subscribe to my channel, share my videos, and click the like button. You can also send in some comments. All right, if you find this helpful. All right, thank you very much. I wish you all the best.